Hey y'all, welcome back to Babe and Library. It's your girl Lisa, and today is a special day. So if you're watching, today is June 28th or after the fact, and I am officially celebrating my 1-year anniversary on booktube. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not as easy and breezy as a lot of these booktubers make it seem. I personally can attest, creativity sometimes is a struggle. Staying on track in terms of reading your TBR is a struggle. And then just making sure that you're putting out content and not feeling pressured. That's always a struggle. But I'm so glad that I've made it. And I want to send a special thank you to everyone who has liked, comments, and subscribed to my channel or referred my channel. It means the world to me. My goal this year was to meet 200 in terms of subscribers, and you all have helped me do that. So thank you all so very much for helping me and supporting me on this journey. So I figured what better way to show my appreciation than to hop over to Bookstagram and list out a questionnaire box or not gonna lie link for you all to ask me some questions. So I've got a couple of questions here that I'm going to read through and discuss. Now, some of these are going to be personal, some of these are going to be book related, but I figured this is the best way that I can engage with you all. If you're not following me on Bookstagram, it's at Babe and Library, just like the handle for BookTube, and I'll go ahead and get started. So the first question is, if you could trade places with one fictional character, who would it be? Honestly, I love a lot of the female main characters in my book, but I'm going to be 100 and say, if it were up to me, I would never want to go through majority of the struggles that they go through in order to get the guys. I don't think that I could go through a lot of the turmoil and the pain that they go through to get their happily ever after. But I've got 2 books that have like a soft life. Like the girls are just out here exploring, enjoying their lives, and I could see myself falling in love. So the first is going to be Cinnamon from That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. Cinnamon is just happy. She's living in her quaint small town with her best friend. She has a family that loves her. She's surrounded by brothers. Her mother and father definitely care for her. And she's just drunk out on the town with her girlfriend coming from a festival. And she run across a dragon. Now, lo and behold, that dragon is going to be her fated mate. And the adventure that they go on and the love that they share is just something that made me laugh, and I enjoyed it. And I feel like if I found my dragon that would, conquer the world for me and I still got to be my soft feminine self, I would trade places with Cinnamon any day. But if I'm giving more of a realistic vibe, I will probably trade places with Harlow from All I've Wanted, All I've Needed. Now, Harlow is very young. She's enjoying her time, trying to figure out what makes her happy, what ambitions she has. Now, Harlow is very creative. So she can be a yoga instructor one day. She can be a photographer the next day, a barista. This is a girl of many talents. And she falls for one of her good friend's brothers. And if there's anything that I can say, I am partial to falling for somebody or getting to know a guy that someone has reputable credit, right? So they're a friend of a friend, they're a family member of a friend. That just seems like the perfect situation for me. So I would definitely trade places with Harlow because Asen is top tier boyfriend. Looking at my next question, how has BookTube or Bookstagram changed you as a bookworm? The first thing I'm thinking is I've definitely increased my TBR. I've got so many more books that are now my TBR because of so many good booktubers that are giving quality recommendations, as well as increased my book buying. I have just purchased the second shelf and I'm getting books along with my book cart. So definitely my spending habits on books have increased. But as far as content, I think one of the things that I used to read for enjoyment and I wasn't really paying attention to tropes per se. So that is a big thing that has changed. Also, me taking notes and really digesting the body of work that I'm reading and acknowledging that I am a little bit softer and more appreciative of authors. I think at one point I was a little bit ruthless in my reviews, which to some degree, right, you want to have that fine balance. I am being truthful and honest when it comes to recommendations and when it comes to talking about or reviewing a book. But at one point, I think that I was a little bit more harsh in those reviews. And now I try to remain balanced and give the good as well as the bad, because I think you can find good in every book, even the books that you absolutely detest. There's some beauty and appreciation of the artist and their craft and also the story that they're trying to tell, even if it may not be the thing for you, right? So I try to have a more balanced approach. So I think that's one of the things BookTube and Bookstagram have broken down the wall or that silo between author and content reviewer, but not so much that it skews my reviews of the book. What is one bookish toxic habit that you have? This person's is buying the whole series without having read the books. I definitely fall into that. I have this entire Sophie Lark series here, and I have not read a single one of these books, but trust and believe I will be reading those for a reading vlog, hopefully before the end of the year. So that is one toxic habit that we share. The other toxic habit I will say is creating a plan or having a TBR and not reading half of the books. Like, I am a mood reader. In addition to picking up books that fit my fancy, I will start multiple books at one time. Not only am I frantic in reading, I am frantic in the types of books that I read, frantic in the mediums in which I pick up. So I'm definitely toxic for anyone that's trying to keep up with my reading taste, my reading habits, and my reading patterns. This is personal. So when was your first kiss? Now, I'm not going to say that I was a fast little girl, because I was not, but first kiss definitely happened in kindergarten. After that, it happened again, probably about second grade. And then I chilled out a little. I probably didn't get another kiss until my freshman year of high school, right? So I had some span. If we're talking about a real first kiss, I'm going to obviously say high school. But when it comes to, trying to figure out if boys like you at school and having little bitty crushes when you're young, definitely second grade. As far as when was the last time you lied? Probably the last time I lied was probably one or two occasions. One, telling my niece that I'd probably think about something, knowing good and well I was not going to think about it or I was not going to buy it. Honestly, truly, let me just not even say that. Lying how far I was from getting to my destination, right? So I am perpetually tardy. And if I tell you I'm 5 minutes out, do not believe me. I am not 5 minutes out. So that's probably honestly the last time I lied. Somebody said, "Hey, where are you?" "Oh, I'm leaving the house now." Yeah, I'm not leaving the house. I still haven't put on my eyebrows. What is the single most important thing you want to see more of in books? I want to see more diversity. Specifically, I would like to see older couples. So one of the things Kennedy Ryan does is she has older heroines and older heroes. Really, in all actuality, what I want to see is more older women get their, or more mature women, I'll say, get their love story. Because love stories happen well after your 20s. If it doesn't, then I am in a world of trouble. But I want to see older characters have their love story. I want to see more Black romance featured in BookTube. And not just your traditional Kennedy Ryans. I want to see Alexandria House. I want to see Christina C. Jones. I want to see A.E. Valdez, Natasha Bishop. I want Black romance to get their shine in BookTube. But as far as books, I want to see more diverse representation. So mental health representation for men. I want to see physical and mental disability more. I would like to see more spotlight in terms of characters that are experiencing love after divorce, experiencing, hardships that are grief stricken, right? I want to have more substance to my romance as well. And so those are some of the things from a diversity perspective. That's what I'm looking for. What made you want to start a booktube account? Honestly, it was the same thing that made me want to start my bookstagram. I was very tired of sitting on the sidelines. I figured I started both my booktube account and my bookstagram account in June, right? So I started one 2 years ago and the other a year ago. And it really is kind of like that last hurrah. My birthday is in July. So it was one of those things where like, babe, you got to get your stuff together. Next month is your birthday month. You're turning another year older and there's no time like the present. Just do it. And so I would always watch other people have accounts or watch other people's videos. And it got to the point where it was like, why not me? Why could you not do it? I literally talk for a living. I read books all the time. I have opinions. Why not start your booktube account? Someone asked for like a random fact for me. One of the two random facts. I hate baked fruit, so that's one random fact. Another random fact is the day that I filmed, edited, and posted my first video, it was because there was a sense of life is too short. So transparently, that was the day I was going to a funeral for one of my cousins. And she was very young. She was in her early 40s. And it was one of those things that I felt, you've got this on your spirit. Life is too short. Please do the things that you love and take the risk and join BookTube. If you like it, great, continue on. If you don't like it, you've tried it, you can say that you've done it and you can move on knowing that you've done something that will leave an impression with you and maybe someone else. So that is a random fact. That is one of the reasons in which I started my BookTube account. And I'm so glad to say that I am celebrating that cousin's year of life, but I am also celebrating my journey and taking that step forward. So I almost got emotional, so I'm going to try to keep going to the next question. What author has changed your mind about a trope that you previously disliked? So I've got two, and they're not book tropes that I disliked per se. Tropes that I had never read from, that I had made an assumption that I would not like. One being small town romance. So I'm still a little bit hesitant on small town romance. It's not giving me, like, it is not my reality. And honestly, it doesn't seem like small town romance is a place that I would be accustomed to. One of the things I think about from small town romance that kind of opened my horizon was Tessa Bailey's It Happened One Summer. I never thought like the fisherman trope or small town romance and with a glitzy, glamoury socialite would be for me. Like this book did not scream Babe in Library. It did not scream, Lisa, this is going to be your vibe. I'm not going to say I'm ever going to be firmly in the small town romance camp. I'm not going to say that I am going to go out and pick up every single small town romance book and that's going to be my small town era. But I was very surprised that Tessa Bailey made me like this. The other book that I was like, this is not my vibe. I just knew alien and monster romance would never be my jam because why? It just doesn't even sound like it rolls off the tongue. Like, you are down for blue alien creatures to come to Earth and be like, you're mine. We don't speak the same language. There's no vibe. But Ruby Dixon made a liar out of me. Ruby Dixon said, hey, I don't have 21 books just for nothing. The girls aren't going gaga over blue creatures for shits and giggles. Like, give it a try. And once I read this, I firmly dive deep into some romances that are questionable at best. One friend you're thankful for. So I cannot limit things to one. That is a struggle of mine. My friends that I've made in the book community, whether that be on BookTube or Bookstagram, have definitely helped expand my view and my world. So the first BookTuber that has ever followed me or mentioned me, commented, supported me, would be Avery. What a beautiful soul. She is probably one of the reasons why I read Ice Queen and Barbarians, because she is Ruby Dixon's #1 stan. Avery has definitely impacted me, and I'm so thankful that I share this booktube community with her. Crystal, from Crystal's Bookish Life, is probably one of the most impactful readers. She is very thoughtful and thorough, and she really is changing and elevating the game when it comes to what people's expectation should be of writers and what it means to be a responsible booktuber. Has a critical thought, but also is so genuine and compassionate. Tiffany from TikTok Pages and or Tiffany from Neverland Pixie would probably be the third booktuber that I would mention, because she is just a radiant ball of joy. Has so many good recommendations. I also love the way in which she reviews books and how passionate she is. She is probably one of the most eloquent when it comes to, describing books and telling her thoughts. And she has such a wide array of books that she's reading. So those are 3 booktubers that I am proud to say I have made a connection with and that I am grateful for in this particular community. As far as my next question, there is a personal one that says, who you trying to get with? So as far as personal, I am open. The DMs are open. Find me on Bookstagram. Find me on my personal Instagram. Find me, because I am trying to have this romance that I'm reading in this book. Now, as far as if I were to get, now y'all didn't ask me this, but if I were to get with someone from a book, I'm going to go ahead and go with Dominic from Restore Me. Like, that man has held a candle for his woman for 12 years, and he was like respectful of his best friend Eric. Dominic said, ain't nobody else coming. So like, if I'm trying to get with somebody in a book, it's gonna be Dominic. But in real life, I'm open. Send your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, your nephews, send them my way. Please, I'm trying to live this romantic life that I am reading in the books. I promise you I am. What book on your TBR are you most intimidated by? So honestly, it's this one right here. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. Like, this one is a chunker. Like, it is nearly 800 pages. In addition to it being a full story that I've seen people have taken such emotional stance on, it is too beautiful to continue to sit on my shelf and collect dust. Literally, everything about this, it is an Oprah book club book, which means that I'm probably going to get my whole life, and I'm really going to come out of this a whole new woman. So if there's one book on my shelf from a size perspective and from a content perspective, it's definitely The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay, so editing Lisa here. I definitely forgot a question. The question is, what do you like the most and what do you like the least about BookTube? So one of the things that I like the most is getting inspiration and connecting with other booktubers or people that commonly engage in the long platform. So I've made some additional friends, gotten a lot of additional recs, and gotten a lot of inspiration and cool ideas. I like that I get to challenge myself to always improving and seeing how I can better edit my videos and better concisely say what I want to say and how I can continue the craft. As far as something that I like the least about BookTube, sometimes it's actually filming. Like, so I don't mind the editing. It is challenging and it gives me a lot to look forward to in terms of building the craft. But as far as watching what I filmed and listening how I ramble and how things don't make sense and hearing the ands, the ums, and the uhs, it is the worst. And honestly, sometimes it's the pressure that I put on myself and comparing myself to others, seeing, feeling that pressure to read popular books versus books that I really want to read. So I think those are all self-imposed. And then the other things that like are the downsides of booktube is the algorithm, I'm assuming. So not being able to get that visible representation or seeing that you've made the impact that you wanted to, especially when you really like the video that you're producing. So that's probably one of my least favorite things, but that isn't going to stop me. So the last question I have on here is very random. Do you think the moon landing was real or faked? I'm going to say the moon landing was real just because, and if it wasn't the first time, there's people that's been to the moon. And the reason why I say that is because people have money, access, and resources. People can't wait. Like, people want to get away from the United States. They want to get away from Earth. They just want to leave and see what else is out there. And so I can definitely believe that someone has gone to the moon and that they've landed. Now, they may not be able to stay. It is not inhabitable. So that being said, thank you all to everyone who has submitted a question. If you happen to have any other questions that you all want, feel free to leave them down below and I will try to answer them. As always, thank you all so very much for being here and supporting me. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and or subscribe, and follow me on Bookstagram at Babe and Library, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.